The town of Spin Boldak in Afghanistan has once again become the flashpoint of tension between Kabul and Islamabad. The dusty border crossing, long known for its trade and smuggling routes, now echoes with gunfire and grief. Afghan Taliban fighters, armed and alert, patrol the boundary after a deadly new round of clashes with Pakistani forces. What began as sporadic exchanges of fire has turned into one of the most serious confrontations in recent months. A reminder of how fragile relations remain between the two neighbours. Witnesses describe the roar of heavy weapons tearing through the night. The fighting, Afghan officials say, left at least 15 civilians dead and dozens more wounded. Most of the victims were caught in the crossfire. Truck drivers, traders and families who had been waiting to cross the gate linking Spin Boldak with Pakistan's Chaman district. The Taliban, now the de facto authority in Afghanistan, has accused Pakistan of targeting civilian areas, while Islamabad insists its troops were responding to unprovoked fire from the Afghan side. As dawn breaks over Kandahar province, the scene is grim. Smoke still rises from burnt-out stalls near the border checkpoint. Taliban fighters stand guard beside anti-aircraft guns mounted on pickup trucks, their silhouettes sharp against the rising sun. The fighters' presence is both a show of force and a message that the Taliban intends to defend its borders and assert control over every inch of Afghan territory. For many Afghans, this renewed confrontation underscores how the border, known locally as the Durand Line, remains a wound that has never truly healed. Inside Spin Boldak's small district hospital, chaos reigns. Ambulances rush in, carrying the wounded from the front lines. Bloodied civilians lie on stretchers, their faces marked by shock and exhaustion. Doctors work without pause, using what limited supplies they have to stop the bleeding, bandage wounds and comfort the dying. Outside, relatives gather, some weeping, others clutching the hands of their loved ones. One nurse, speaking in a trembling voice, says the hospital has received more than 40 injured in just a few hours, most of them civilians, including women and children. Taliban officials have been quick to condemn the attack. A spokesperson for the Kandahar governor's office told reporters that Pakistan's shelling was indiscriminate and unlawful, warning that Afghanistan would not tolerate aggression. Pakistani officials, however, counter that the Taliban provoked the clash by constructing new checkpoints along disputed sections of the border. The Pakistani military's public statement described its actions as retaliatory strikes against hostile fire, though it offered condolences for civilian casualties. Behind these statements lies a deeper struggle. Since the Taliban returned to power in 2021, tensions with Pakistan have steadily grown. A paradox, given Islamabad's past support for the group. The relationship, once defined by covert cooperation, is now strained by diverging interests. Pakistan accuses Kabul of harbouring militants from the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, a group that has carried out deadly attacks inside Pakistan. The Taliban leadership denies the accusation but has done little to stop TTP fighters from finding sanctuary on Afghan soil. The border violence, many analysts say, is both a symptom and a symbol of this deteriorating trust. At the Spin Boldak crossing, the human toll is visible everywhere. Vendors who once sold tea and fruit now sift through debris. A driver stands beside his bullet-riddled truck, recounting how artillery shells fell just meters away. "We were just waiting to cross," he says softly. Then the ground shook, and people started running. For locals, such stories are nothing new. The crossing has seen repeated closures over the past year, disrupting trade and separating families. The violence has not only destroyed livelihoods, but also deepened resentment on both sides of the border. Meanwhile, Taliban commanders on the ground move with quiet precision. Fighters reposition sandbags, check weapons, and scan the horizon for movement. Their posture is defiant but tense, a reflection of the uncertainty that now defines Afghanistan's frontier. Some speak proudly of defending the nation's honour. Others, weary from years of war, simply wish for calm. The anti-aircraft guns aimed toward the border are a stark reminder of how quickly skirmishes can escalate into deadly confrontations. In Kabul, officials have called for diplomatic dialogue, though few believe talks will yield quick results. Pakistan's foreign ministry has expressed regret over civilian deaths, but insists that border management must continue. Behind the formal language, the mistrust runs deep. Each side blames the other for failing to control militant movements and smuggling operations. The border, never fully recognised by successive Afghan governments, remains a fault line that generations of politicians and generals have failed to mend. The humanitarian situation adds another layer of urgency. Aid groups operating in Kandahar report shortages of medicine and fuel at local hospitals. The district's power supply, already erratic, has been cut in some areas due to shelling. Volunteers work through the night, distributing food and water to displaced families. Yet even as they do, fresh gunfire occasionally echoes from the direction of the border. For civilians trapped in this cycle of violence, hope feels distant. Outside the hospital, a Taliban health official speaks briefly to reporters. His tone is somber. "We appeal to both sides to protect civilians," he says, "but we will not allow our land to be violated." His words capture the dilemma facing Afghanistan's rulers, a desire to project sovereignty while grappling with the limits of power. In Spin Boldak, those limits are measured in shattered homes and broken bodies. In Islamabad, military analysts have been quick to frame the clashes as part of a larger regional security challenge. The Pakistani army has lost dozens of soldiers in cross-border attacks since early this year, many attributed to militants using Afghan territory as cover. Pakistan's response, airstrikes and artillery, has drawn condemnation from Afghan authorities, but enjoys support from sections of the Pakistani public who view the Taliban government as uncooperative. The result is a dangerous feedback loop where each confrontation fuels the next. Regional actors are watching closely. Iran, which shares a border with both countries, has urged restraint, while China, a key investor in Pakistan's infrastructure, has quietly called for stability to protect trade routes under its Belt and Road Initiative. The United Nations has expressed concern over civilian casualties and called for immediate de-escalation. Yet, as history has shown, border clashes between Afghanistan and Pakistan are rarely resolved quickly. They flare, subside, and flare again, leaving behind grief and mistrust. As evening falls over Spin Boldak, the streets grow quieter. The wounded continue to arrive at the hospital, their cries fading into the hum of generators. Taliban fighters take positions along the darkened border road, their silhouettes framed by the glow of burning debris. Somewhere beyond the wire fences, Pakistani soldiers are doing the same, waiting, watching, uncertain what dawn will bring. This is the grim rhythm of life along one of the world's most volatile frontiers. Each side claims to defend its sovereignty. Each accuses the other of aggression. In between stand the civilians, trapped in a conflict that recognizes neither boundary nor mercy. For them, the border is not a line on a map. It is a scar that keeps reopening. And tonight, in the cold wind of Kandahar, that scar bleeds once more.